Nostalgia is a strange feeling. It is not just missing the past. It is missing a version of life that no longer exists. A time, a place, a community, a feeling. Sometimes it is connected to a song, sometimes it is connected to a game, and sometimes it is connected to a world that someone built 12 years ago, forgot about, and left behind. Most online games disappear when their servers shut down. Most old memories become screenshots, videos, or stories. But Growtopia is different. Because in Growtopia, the past is still there. Hidden behind random world names, locked away by players who quit years ago, preserved inside forgotten worlds that nobody has visited in a decade. And that is why Growtopia may be one of the most nostalgic games ever made. For anyone who does not know, Growtopia is a 2D sandbox MMO where players can build, farm, trade, socialise and create their own worlds. The game was originally created by Seth Robinson and Mike Hommel. It started development in 2012, had an Android beta in late 2012 and officially launched in 2013. Later, in 2017, Ubisoft acquired Growtopia. But before Growtopia became what it is today, it was a much simpler game. It was not just about expensive items, flexing, inflation, or toxicity. In the beginning, Growtopia felt like a tiny internet universe made by players. Every world felt personal, every item felt meaningful, every achievement felt huge. Getting your first wings felt like becoming rich. Owning a small lock felt like owning land. Making a hotel, a parkour, a shop, or a roleplay world felt like building something real. And in a way, it was real. Because Growtopia was not just a game where you played inside worlds, it was a game where you created them. The main reason Growtopia's nostalgia is so powerful is the world system. In Growtopia, every world is connected to a name. You type a name, enter it, and if nobody has claimed it, you can build there. If you place a lock, that world becomes yours. It can be a house, a farm, a shop, a parkour, a minigame, a hotel, or just a random experiment from someone's childhood. And because world names are basically endless combinations of words, numbers, jokes, usernames, and random ideas, many old worlds were never found again. They were not deleted, they were not reset, they were just forgotten. That is what makes Growtopia different from almost every other online game. You may ask, what makes this different from old Minecraft servers like 2b2t? That is a good question. In a Minecraft Anarchy server like 2b2t, the survival of an old base depends mostly on distance. If a player built far enough away, maybe their base could survive for years. The farther you went, the safer you were. But over time, players explored more and more of the map. Bases were found, griefed, leaked, or destroyed. Today, finding an untouched ancient base on a server like that is almost impossible. Growtopia works differently. In Growtopia, distance does not matter. There are no coordinates you need to travel through. There is no long journey across millions of blocks. All you need is a world name. If someone made a world in 2013 with a strange enough name, and nobody randomly typed that name for the next 10 or 12 years, that world could remain untouched forever. That is the magic. You can sit there, type random names, and suddenly enter a world that feels like a time capsule. A world built by a kid in 2013. A world with old blocks, old signs, old designs, old memories. A world that nobody has seen in years. But Growtopia's nostalgia is not only about finding old worlds, it is also about what those worlds represent. They represent a simpler time in the game's history, a time when the game still felt like a game, not a money-making, flex-maxing, toxic environment. A time when the blocks and items had a consistent design. Everything looked like it belonged in the same universe. The dirt, the lava, the platforms, the signs, the doors, the wallpapers, the wings, the trees. It all felt connected, and because the item pool was smaller, every item had more value emotionally. A pair of wings was not just an accessory, it was a milestone. A world lock was not just a lock, it was a dream. A small shop was not just a shop, it was someone's first business. A parkour world was not just a parkour, it was someone's attempt to create fun for strangers. That is what made early Growtopia special. The game gave players simple tools, and players created their own culture. Hotels, parkours, mini-games, roleplay worlds, shops, farms, social worlds, random hangout places. None of these things were forced by the game. Players invented them. And that is why finding one of these worlds today feels so emotional. You are not just finding blocks, you are finding the remains of someone's imagination. This is also where expired locks become important. In Growtopia, when a player becomes inactive for a long time, some locks expire after 180 days. These are the small, big and huge locks. Since these were the cheap options back in the day, it made the players pick them over the unexpirable world locks in certain cases. That means world hunters can search for old worlds where the original owner has been gone for years. This adds another layer to the nostalgia. Because now, the world is not only old, it is abandoned. The owner may have quit the game 8, 10 or even 12 years ago. Maybe they grew up, maybe they forgot their password, maybe they stopped playing after school, maybe they do not even remember the world exists. But the world is still there, waiting, and when you find it, it feels like discovering digital archaeology. You are not just playing Growtopia anymore, you are digging through the internet's forgotten childhood. But nostalgia is not the only reason people hunt for these old worlds. There is also mystery. Because old worlds can contain valuable items, rare structures, and even glitches from the earliest days of the game. Some of these glitches are extremely rare today because they were patched, fixed, or deleted over time. One example is broken bedrocks. Bedrock is the unbreakable bottom layer of every world in Growtopia. Normally, players cannot break it. It is supposed to be permanent. But in the first months of Growtopia, there was a glitch that allowed players to break bedrock blocks. Most of these glitched worlds have either been fixed, deleted, or found already, but not all of them. One of my friends actually managed to find one. The world was called This. And when you see a name like that, it becomes obvious why nobody randomly found it for 13 years. But it was not only the players themselves who could not find this world. Even the head moderators of the game, Seth and Hamumu, were unable to find it, even though they were the ones manually fixing these broken bedrock worlds back in the day. It is not a normal word. It is not something most players would type. It is strange, random, and specific. That is exactly the type of name that can hide a world for more than a decade. You may wonder, how did your friend even find that? The answer is dedication. A lot of world hunting is random, but not completely random. It is about understanding how old players named worlds. It is about catching patterns, using hints, testing old words, old usernames, old trends, numbers, misspellings, and weird combinations. Sometimes it leads nowhere, but sometimes, after hundreds or thousands of tries, you find something that feels impossible. A world that should have been found years ago. A world that somehow survived. A world that still contains a piece of Growtopia's oldest history. Growtopia today may not be the same game it once was. The economy changed, the community changed, the culture changed. The game became bigger, louder, and more complicated. But hidden under all of that, the old Growtopia still exists. Not on the surface, not in the crowded trade worlds, not in the expensive items, but in forgotten world names, in expired locks, in broken bedrock, in old signs, in abandoned hotels, in random parkours nobody finished, in worlds that survived only because nobody thought to search for them. And maybe that is the real beauty of Growtopia. It redefined nostalgia because it turned memory into a place you can still enter, a place you can still discover, a place that has been waiting for someone to type the right name.